Welcome to the news on Zodiac with me, Joab Frank Chakaza. Our top stories. Government signs extradition papers for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary. State House says President Chakwera will act on grievances from MCP members who want some of his cabinet members, ministers and leaders fired. Malawi Post Corporation employees go on strike protesting delayed November salaries. And African Parks Limited partners USA's Forestry Service to upgrade Nkota Wildlife Reserve into an attractive tourist destination. Now the news in detail. Homeland Security Minister Richard Chimwendo has signed extradition papers for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary. The two are wanted in South Africa for fraud and money laundering charges. They jumped bail in that country, saying their lives were in danger. Now the police will have to secure a warrant of arrest for the two. Here is government spokesperson Gospel Kazago.
On 4th December, the South African government officially penned Lilongwe to extradite Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary to South Africa. The couple jumped bail in a matter they are accused of fraud and money laundering. Malawi's Minister of Information, Gospel Kazago, has told us that government has agreed with South Africa's request and that what remains is for the courts to act on the matter.
The papers have been submitted to the court. What is being sought is the issuance of the warrants of arrest. And the court will have to rule, the court will have to decide in that regard. So once the court rules, then we can come back to you and tell you the way forward.
As we went to press, Bushiri's lawyer Wapona Kita said his client had no official knowledge on the latest development.
We have not been served with anything, so it's difficult for us to make a comment.
We sought a legal analysis on the development from legal expert Sondozwayo Madise. He says there could be things bound to happen.
Bushiris may be required to be apprehended. They might hand themselves in, or a warrant of arrest may have to be issued against them to bring them for the authorities so that they can facilitate that process. But it also means the Bushiris now have an opportunity to challenge those documents or the process itself.
Meanwhile, on 22 December, the High Court in Lilongwe is expected to make a criminal review ruling on lower court ruling that set the Bushiris free. For Zodiac in Lilongwe, I'm Christina Chuota.
State House says President Chakwera will act on grievances from some members of his MCP who want some of his cabinet ministers and leaders removed. Speaking at a final weekly brief for the year on Monday at Kamuzu Palace, Presidential Press Secretary Brian Banda said the president sympathizes with those that feel the Tonse Alliance-led government is slow in delivering campaign promises. Meanwhile, Chancellor College political expert Ernest Tindwa says the root cause of the intra-party conflict are the expectations that most political zealots harbor ahead of every election. A man aged 27 has today been sentenced to 22 years for raping and robbing a woman aged 35 one night in October in Lilongwe City. Positani Maganja was today convicted on his own plea of guilt in the Lilongwe Senior Resident Magistrates Court. 4 of his accomplices in the matter are still at large. The offense was committed close to Lizulu Market along the Kenyatta Drive. Workers at the Malawi Post Corporation in Blantyre have gone on strike, protesting what they are saying is labor injustice. Among the grievances, they say they are yet to access November salaries, which already they argue are peanuts. Our reporter Habinjala Mano is there and he explains.
Operations came to a standstill at Malawi Post Corporations in Blantyre on Monday as employees are on a sit-in. Workers from Limbi, Chichiri and Blantyre post offices abandoned their duty stations and gathered at Malawi Post Corporation head office in Blantyre to present their displeasure. One of them, George Makina, spoke on their behalf before the Postmaster General, Zacchaeus George Meke, who addressed the disgruntled employees.
We have so many problems here at Malawi Post Corporation. The main problem is for salary. We don't receive our November salary, and yet we are in December. We are especially waiting for December salary, which means 2 months now without payment. We are going to discuss with others if it is possible to go back to work or proceed with strike.
The Postmaster General acknowledged that the grievances are outstanding.
We assured them that the current challenges which they are facing should be through probably by around January. And also we asked them to give government more space, because we've been engaging government on the issues and that government is aware of the issues, and that ways were discussed on how we were going to deal with those challenges that they have presented.
The corporation has 824 employees across the country, according to Meke.
Stakeholders in the agricultural sector are optimistic that embracing innovation in agriculture and food systems will help the country become more resilient to effects of climate change. Principal Extension Methodologies Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Blessings Susuere, spoke during an agricultural innovation workshop in Lilongwe on Monday. The project aims at enhancing capabilities of farmers on a larger scale across the country for the next 4 years. Linda Masinga reports.
The experts agree that climate change, among other factors, has affected agricultural practices in Malawi for some time now. This, they observe, has largely affected food production that has seen a larger population food insecure and in need of humanitarian assistance. Principal Extension Methodologies Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Blessings Susuere, told delegates to a workshop on agricultural innovation systems in Lilongwe on Monday that embracing innovation in agriculture will surely make the country more resilient, eventually food secure.
Let's say, for example, we are talking about climate change. At that level, they would bring in colleagues from the meteorological department. They would also bring in other actors at district level that are more, that know at least about their area with regard to issues of climate change. And they will be able to deliberate at that level. And with the information from colleagues from the meteorological department, they will be able to map the way forward with regard to how they can do their agriculture in relation to adapting to issues of climate.
While agreeing with Susuele, Food and Agriculture FAO project manager Alfred Tsitsi is optimistic the project will yield its intended purpose as it seeks to bring solutions to existing challenges that farmers are facing.
Among some of the challenges that we are facing is weak capacity to innovate. So basically the project is there to strengthen the capacities of agricultural innovation systems in Malawi. Malawi
is among 9 countries across the world to benefit from the 5 million euros, that's approximately 4.6 billion kwacha, Agriculture Innovation Systems project funded by the European Union. I am Linda Masinga reporting.
Catholics in the country are mourning the death of Archbishop Tarcisio Ziaye of Lilongwe Archdiocese, who died in Namibia, where he went for medical attention. Secretary General for the Episcopal Conference of Malawi, Father Henry Saindi, says currently the leadership of the church is consulting on arrangements to repatriate the body of the late Archbishop and possible funeral program. Meanwhile, the Catholic faithful and members of the general public have expressed sadness at the passing of the Archbishop, who they described as a dedicated, humble, and faithful servant of God.
It is with sad and heavy heart that I confirm the demise of Archbishop Tarcisio Ziaye of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. He has passed on this in the area was of today in Namibia, where he was receiving medical attention. We understand that he was invited by his friend Archbishop in Namibia because they have a very good hospital. So he was there receiving medical attention, Unfortunately, in the process, he has passed on. The whole church is very, very saddened with the untimely demise of His Grace Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe.
Has the Archbishop been ill for some time?
We are aware that he has had problems with the stomach complications. He has been complaining about this for quite some time, and I think that is the problem that brought him to Namibia for medical attention.
When should we expect his body back home, and maybe what's the funeral arrangement like?
We are yet to sit down and make arrangements in terms of repatriating his body to Malawi and consequently again arranging the funeral and the burial ceremonies. So that is yet to be decided. We are yet to make that kind of program.
Late Archbishop Ziaye was born on 19 May 1949, and he was ordained as a priest on August 14, 1977, and served as bishop since 1991. You're watching the news on Zodiac. We have more news shortly.
Precious things have a secret formula. While John is busy trying to impress, James discovered Tangu's secret. Tangu uses Purity sanitary products from Purity body wash, Purity hands wash, Purity body lotion to Purity dishwash. After a week of using Purity sanitary products, James won the heart of Tangu. Use Purity sanitary products.
Welcome back. You're with me, Job Frank Chakaza. The headlines. Government signs extradition papers for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary. State House says President Chakwera will act on grievances from MCP members who want some of his cabinet ministers and leaders fired. Malawi Post Corporation employees go on strike protesting delayed November salaries. And African Parks Limited partners USA's Forestry Service to upgrade Nkota Wildlife Reserve into an attractive tourist destination. Now, moving on with the news, the National Planning Commission says it has submitted to the Cabinet for approval the draft Vision 2063 development blueprint set for launch early next year. NPC communications specialist Tom Kanje told us yesterday that the preparations are already at an advanced stage for the launch of the development plan. Among others, the Vision 2063, which is a successor of Vision 2020, focuses on supporting wealth creation and making Malawians become self-reliant, particularly the youth. Linda Masinga reports.
Communications specialist for the National Planning Commission, Tom Kanje, says the commission has finalized the draft Vision 2063, a blueprint for Malawi's national development for the next 43 years. Kanje says the document has been sent to the Cabinet for approval, pending plans to launch early January 2021. He has since assured Malawians that the new vision for Malawi, which replaces Vision 2020, will build a better Malawi if earnestly implemented.
We have been working with the Cabinet Committee on the Economy, which is chaired by the Vice President, over the past few weeks. The vision already went through this committee. It's just a matter of it going to the main cabinet, which is chaired by the President himself. But so far, the signs are that both the President and the Vice President are so keen in seeing this vision launched very soon.
Vision 2063 is focusing on wealth creation and self-reliance, aimed at graduating Malawi from poverty to prosperity. This is Linda
African Parks Limited has partnered USA's Forestry Service to upgrade Nkota Wildlife Reserve into an attractive tourist destination. African Parks Country Representative Samuel Kamoto says the organization has already spent about 7.5 billion kwacha for the past 5 years, restoring the park's lost glory like restocking animal species. Nonkubu reports.
African Parks signed a 20-year agreement with the government of Malawi to manage Nkota Wildlife Reserve, which was at the verge of collapsing in 2015. 5 years into the agreement, African Parks Country Representative Samuel Kamoto says the protected area is now showing signs of life. Among others, the animal population has increased following a translocation program of wild animals, including elephants, from Liwonde to Nkota Wildlife Reserve.
We inherited a park that had numerous problems. So there's so many poaching activities going on in the park. As a matter of fact, there are just very few animals still remaining in the park. There's a lot of logging going on, and I think there was no respect for the park. So everybody would go and cut firewood, go and burn charcoal, do all sorts of things, even growing marijuana. When we just started, we had over 500 hectares of marijuana grown inside the reserve.
Mr. Kamoto says African Parks would want Nkota Wildlife Reserve to be another unique tourist destination from mid-next year.
So the first 5 years of our operation here was to try and prepare a product that will give to the tourist. So, bringing in the animals, making sure that we've got the right buildings, roads and things like that. The basic things that you need to have in the park. But now we'll put in another gear, and we'll be focusing now on tourism. So tourism means facilities, amenities, advertising.
Nkota Wildlife Reserve covers 1,800 square kilometers. For Zodiac, this is Noah Nkubwi reporting.
And that's what we had time for in this edition of The News. Before we go, another look at the headlines. Government signs extradition papers for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary. State House says President Chakwera will act on grievances from MCP members who want some of his cabinet ministers and leaders fired. Malawi Post Corporation employees go on strike protesting delayed November salaries. And African Parks Limited partners USA's Forestry Service to upgrade Nkota Wildlife Reserve into an attractive tourist destination. Log on to our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. Remember to wear a mask always when you are in crowded places to help contain the spread of COVID-19. Goodbye.
Kodi titani ngati tikudwala matenda omwe amagwira ziwalo zopumira m'thupi la munthu? Tikhale pa nyumba ngati tadwala. Ngati tikumva kutentha thupi, kapena tikudwala chifuwa, chimfine, kapena kupuma mobanika, tiyimbe foni pa nambala zaulere za Airtel izi: 54747 kapena *919 #321. Komanso pa nambala ya TNM iyi 0887371288 kuti tiyitane achipatala adzatiyeze komwe tili. Titseke pakamwa komanso mphuno ndi kansalu pokhosomola ndi poyetsemula. Tithanso kupinda mkono wathu ndi kukhosomolera kapena kuyetsemulira pomwe tapinda mkono wathupo. Tisambe m'manja ndi sopo ndi kutikita kwa masekanzi 17 tikatha kukhosomola kapena kuyetsemula. Titsuke komanso kuthira mankhwala ophati zirombo toyambitsa matenda malo onse amene odwala anagwiritsa ntchito kuphatikizapo ziwiya zonse. Tipewe kukhudzana ndi anthu ena. Tipewe kupereka kapena kulandira moni wapadzanja. Kumbukirani kuti kupewa kumaposa kuchiza.
Uthengawo akupatsirani ndi Zodiac Broadcasting Station ZBS. Nyumba Ichene Promotion.
This festive season, get a sofa set, a trendy coffee table, and extendable TV unit from Zoe at only 499,000 Malawi kwacha. Umanso Zoe Furniture ndi akatswiri popanga dining sets, beautiful beds, kitchen units ndi zina zambiri. We are located opposite Gateway Mall next to Simama offices in Lilongwe. Telephone 0888 600 110. Zoe Furniture, uniquely different. The fulfillment of your dream to have a beautiful house you call home begins with acquiring a plot of your choice. Smart Realtors Company has come with yet another unbeatable flexible payment plan for their plots. Yes, with Smart Realtors Company, you can get any plot of your choice by paying 10% of the initial price and finish the balance in 9 equal monthly installments. With Smart Realtors Company, you will only be required to pay 180,000 Malawi kwacha as first payment for an 18 by 30 meters plot. Plot sizes range from 18 by 30 meters going upwards, with prices starting from 1.8 million Malawi kwacha. The plots are located in a fast developing area with good access roads, water and electricity at Airwing in Lilongwe. Smart Realtors Company is also offering a free house plan to all clients buying their plots, and if you make full payment at once, the company will process a free title deed for you. For more details, go on 0996 744 509, 0998 263 080, 0991 599 971, or send an email to smartrealtors.co@gmail.com, or visit our offices at Corporate Mall Building along Chilambula Road next to Road Traffic Regional Offices in Lilongwe. Smart Realtors Company.